Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Current today. So glad you guys have made Current a part of your week. This week, my name's Ben, if we haven't had a chance to meet before, and I'd love that opportunity to meet you later on. I'm the lead pastor here at Current. Just speaking of today, making Current a part of your day today, I'm making it a part of my morning this morning, and then I have a big rest of my day. I'm just kind of, sharing my schedule with you, not that you care, but later on today, like as soon as service is over, I'm going to catch a plane in Kansas City. I'm going to catch a plane to Atlanta today. I'm going to a conference for 2 days, along with a whole bunch of pastors and church leaders from our network of churches for a conference that happens every other year. I am so excited about it, and I'm really looking forward to it. I usually don't have a problem. I don't know about you guys. Anybody like have a fear of flying? You don't enjoy flying out there? Any hands? Okay, I see a few. I don't typically have a problem flying. I'm usually fine with it. But then yesterday I came across this article from a few weeks ago. I don't know if you guys saw this. A United flight was diverted after the toilet overflowed into the cabin. And now I'm a little nervous about I knew that there were some things that could happen when you fly. I didn't realize that was one of them. So there you go. We have a great day in store for you today. Hopefully it doesn't feel like a toilet overflowing into your cabin, but I think it's going to be a much better experience for you than that together today. If you're new with us, welcome. We love having new people around here. We love having people around here because that's our mission and our vision. We want to encourage, equip, and lead people just like yourself to learn what it means to follow Jesus. We really believe around here that following Jesus will make your life better and that it'll make you better at navigating life. And we just believe that with all our heart. And so we're glad that you're here. If it's your very first time with us, we hope it's the first of many times. If it's your first, second, third, 10th time, and you've never yet taken this step, we'd love for you to take the step of going to new.mycurrent.church, or we've made it really simple for you. Just go to the camera app on your phone, hold it up to the screen there behind me, and when it takes you to that website, click the button that says I'm new. If you share just a little bit about yourself with us, over the next few weeks, we're going to share just a little bit about us with you. And I promise you, we won't overwhelm you. We're just going to share what we're all about and how you can get involved and how you can get connected around here and how you can find your place, how this place can feel like your place together with us. So like I said, we do have a great experience in store for you today. We're going to be in part 2 of a series that we started last week called Bend Don't Break. And you're going to get to hear from one of my favorite people on the planet, one of my closest friends, Ryan James. He's our adult ministries director. It means he's over our groups, our community groups here at our church. And so you're going to get to hear from him here in just a little bit. But before that, we're going to jump into some singing. Riley and Melody are going to lead us along with the band. We got Lyle back there and Vernon and Taya and Bobby. They're going to lead you in some music. So here's what I want to do. I want to invite you to stand. I want to invite you to sing with us. As you stand, turn to somebody next to you and just tell them what your worst vacation experience of all time was. Really quickly. Ready, go.
Where you are is where I want to be. You have shown me what freedom means. I'm alive, your grace has covered me. I'm gonna sing your praises. never get tired, you say.
I'll never get tired, never get tired.
Come on, say, never get tired, never get tired, you say.
I'll never get tired, never get tired.
'Cause you are worthy and you will always be enough. And I will never get tired of singing of your love. 'Cause you are worthy and you will always be enough. And I will never get tired of singing of. Never get tired of singing your love. Whoa, never get tired, never get tired of singing your love. Never get tired, I'll never get tired of singing your love. I'll never get tired, I'll never get tired of singing your love. Never get tired, I'll never get tired of singing your love.
All my words fall short. I've got nothing new. How could I express all my gratitude? I could sing these songs as I often do. Every song must end, and you never do. So I throw up my hands, praise you again and again. So all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, I've nothing else fit for a king, except for a heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah. I've got one response, I've got just one move. With my arms stretched wide, I will worship you. So I throw up my hands and praise you again and again. 'Cause all that I have is a hallelujah, hallelujah. And I know it's not much, I've nothing else fit for a king, yes, except for a heart singing hallelujah, hallelujah. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me, lift up your song. 'Cause you've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me, lift up your song. 'Cause you've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me, lift up your song. 'Cause you've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. Come on.
Hey, it's so good to sing that together with you guys today. You can go ahead and take your seat. As you do that, I want to turn to the band for just a second and say thank you guys very much for leading us today. It's so special what you guys do, and I know you guys put a lot of work in each and every week, so thank you guys for that. Thank you, Melody, Riley, for leading us today. So I don't know if you guys realize this. Thank you, Melody. I don't know if you realize this, but 2024 is already a third of the way over. A third already. I mean, that's just crazy to think, which means that a few weeks ago, the first quarter of 2024 wrapped up, and we kind of decided that this year we want to try something a little bit different. Once a quarter, we want to just every few months give you an update on where we're at as a church financially. As our elders, as part of our church, our directors of our various ministries you guys serve under and benefit from, we really desire transparency, and we really value transparency as a leadership. And so we also, when it comes to you and your giving, we want to make sure that we're being faithful stewards of the generosity that you guys so generously give to us week after week. If you're new with us, if you're newer to Current or newer to church, as I talk about finances in the church, you might, like, your first response, I don't know how this lands on you, but your first response might be, oh, great, like there it is. I knew that the church, was going to talk about money at some point. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you're sitting there thinking, maybe breathing a sigh of relief, breath of fresh air a little bit, just thinking, oh, okay, it's nice to actually hear that a church wants to be a little bit transparent about how they're handling money. So, but that's what we're going to do today. And the first thing I want to say to all of you, especially if you're new with us or newer to church, but really to all of you, first thing I want to say is that this conversation is geared towards people that call Current their church home, okay? And it's geared towards people that are saying, hey, I want to follow Jesus in every area of my life, including my finances. That's what this conversation is for. And the second thing, you may not, it may not dawn on you, I'm sure it does internally, but maybe you don't really think about this. Every single organization on the planet, requires financial resources in order to operate. And we're no different than any other organization. So we're going to talk about it a little bit. And because this is the first time that we've ever done this, we're going to do it on a kind of a regular basis. It'll look a little bit different in the future. But because this is the very first time, and because a lot of this is information that many of you, you may have been part of our church for a long time, a couple of years, and you may not even know this information. Because of that, I'm going to be a little bit more, we're going to talk about this a little bit longer than we normally will, and I'm going to be a little bit more candid with you than you might even expect. Again, for the sake of honesty, for the sake of clarity, for the sake of transparency today. So, in 2024, the first quarter so far this year, January 1 through the end of March, what we were expecting to come in financially from you guys was $20,395. And that number that we were expecting to come in was based on numbers from 2023. We looked at last year's budget. We made up a budget based on those numbers, and what we expected was that. What you actually gave in the first 3 months of 2024 was $21,292, which is awesome. Yes. That is really cool. It's not like a huge difference, but there's a difference there. And I'm so grateful for your guys' generosity. I can't say enough how grateful I am for how much you guys give and you support this mission. Those of you that do that, it's an incredible thing. However, and there is kind of a however, because I need to share this with you, we have a budget as part of our church every single quarter as well. And I'm going to share with you what our budget is each quarter. And this budget number that I'm about to share with you is what I like to call the keep the lights on budget. Okay? That means this is our budget. I'm going to share with you the number that just the absolute minimum we have to come in each quarter just to make budget, just to continue to keep operating as a church. That's what this number is that I'm about to show you. Our budget for the first quarter of the year, and for every quarter really, is that number right up there, $20,167. Okay? That number includes things like our accounting fees, like keeping our financial records and making sure we're doing a good job of that and being accountable to our accounting fees. Things like payroll, which right now is just me. And things like storage. We have to pay to store our stuff throughout the week. It's things like all the software licenses and subscriptions that we have in order to run this room. It covers software subscriptions for all of our other environments for them to do what they do in there. It also includes things like copyright licenses. Believe it or not, this is crazy, maybe crazy to you, I don't know. Churches pay hundreds of dollars a year just to be able to legally conduct services and not, cross copyright lines. It's things like our website and streaming online. We pay for some streaming services so we can stream to you guys online. And that number also includes a really, really big one. It includes our theater lease to meet here at the theater every single Sunday. This may surprise you a little bit. This number may actually shock you a little bit, but our quarterly budget to lease the theater is $9,600 per quarter. That's how much we pay to meet here. You'll notice that's about half of our operating budget, about 50% almost. And by the way, just real quick, when it comes to that lease, that number may look huge to you, but when we were looking for a place to meet, I don't know if you've looked at real estate, particularly like business real estate, it's insane. And this number is actually pretty close to what we were looking at to rent very small spaces in other parts of town. So there's that for you. And here's some of the things that are not included. Some of the things that are not included in that $20,167 are things like anything that your kids go home with in their hands. Anything that they go home on any given week or any given month, we give a giveaway of some sort every single month to your kids. That's above and beyond that number. Things like your volunteer shirts that you guys wear when you volunteer, those are above and beyond this number. Any signage around the building that we have, in fact, any piece of gear of any kind that you see that we use around this building, stuff that gets stored on the trailer, all of it is above and beyond that number. Music resources for our team, technology for our team, above and beyond that number. And here's a big one. Any community engagement that we do is above and beyond that $20,167. For example, you guys know that we did a movie night a couple months ago. And this is a really cool thing. Like, I'm excited to do this. Your generosity is what made this thing possible. We covered the cost of the water and the snacks and the pizza and all that stuff that they bought when they were there. We covered the rights to stream the movie, all of that stuff, the advertising stuff that we sent home so that kids would come. Amazing thing. And we did not take those costs out of the money that came in that night. 100% of what came in went back to the school. We wrote a check. I don't know if I ever even told you guys this, but we wrote a check to Pershing a couple months ago for $700. How awesome is that? And your generosity is what makes that happen. And here's a really cool thing. You might even put this on your calendar if you're a volunteer. We need all the volunteers, all hands on deck. Here in a week and a half, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, we're doing our next movie night at Lindbergh. And so if you block out that night, I would love it because I'd love for you guys to come and serve the kids at Lindbergh that night. Here's another thing, just one more thing I want to share with you that is not included in that number. All the snacks, the cookies, the cupcakes, the coffee, the tea, all that stuff that you guys get every week, that's above and beyond that number. That's not included in our quarterly budget. And here's another fun fact. Most Sundays, in fact, almost every Sunday, that stuff is purchased out of pocket by people in our church. And I hate that they do that. I don't like it. But they do it because they believe in our mission, they believe in our vision, and so they want to keep making incredible environments for you guys. And I'll be really honest with you, I'm not particularly excited. I don't love talking about money in front of you guys. It's like if I can be real, like this was the thing I was least looking forward to when it came to starting Current here in our community because of the potential negatives, the thoughts around money when we talk about it in church. And I would feel really, really terrible if you guys walked out of here today thinking that this is about me, because I promise you it's not. And again, I'm just sharing these numbers with you. I probably won't share these again anytime soon, but because it's the first time I'm sharing it and you guys may not know this, for the last 2 years, the elders have tried to give me a raise. And for 2 years, I have refused to take a raise because I wanted to be able to keep doing things financially as a church. And then at the beginning of this year, they insisted. They wouldn't take no for an answer anymore. And they insisted that I take a raise. And so I took a raise for the first time. And as a result of that, I am now making a whopping just under $22,000 a year as my salary as part of the church. And many of you guys know, and I don't say this, I say this because I believe in what we do. You guys know how many hours I put into this. This is my full-time job. This is what I do. And many of you know that my wife is a full-time teacher in the St. Joe School District. So combine those two salaries, that's what we've been living on for the last 3 years as a family. And we've had to make some big financial sacrifices, and I'm telling you, we are so happy to do it. And we would do it over and over and over again because we believe in what we're doing. We believe in our mission. We believe in our vision. We believe in what God's doing in this community. We believe that Jesus changes lives. We would do it all over again if we had to. But I say that because I just want you to know, like, this isn't about me. This isn't about anything other than, like, we got something to do, and it takes a lot of money to do it. And so here's what I want to invite you to. And again, this invite is for people that you're saying, hey, I want to follow Jesus with my life, including my finances in every area. Current's my church home. If that's you, this is for you. This is the invite for you. If you're a guest, congratulations. You just got way more of a sneak peek behind the curtain than you ever wanted at Current Church, okay? But for the rest of the second quarter, here's the invite. If you are already giving something, I want to invite you to consider what it might look like for you to, for the next several weeks until the end of the second quarter of this year, what would it look like for you to increase your giving by 1%? If you're giving, like if you were to look at your finances and go, I'm giving 3% of my income every month, what would it look like for you to give 4, maybe 5% for the next few weeks or for the next couple months? If you are a longtime Jesus follower, you would say, I've been following Jesus a long time. I consider myself a church person. And you're not giving 10%, what we call a tithe, if you're not giving 10% of your income, I'd love to consider you, or I'd love to encourage you to consider, hey, I should probably be following Jesus by taking this step and giving 10% of my income. I'll just let you know, Amy and I, my wife and I, we give 10% of our income. We have been doing 10%. We have never in 20 years of marriage, not ever one time given less than 10%, ever, not once. If you're here today and you're not giving anything or you've never given anything, what would it look like for you to look at your income and go, like, what if we were to give 3%? What if I were to give 3% for the next few months? And here's what I'll tell you. Giving will absolutely change your life. I promise you that. I'm not making it up. I'm not using it to coerce you. I promise you that. Generosity changes our lives. And the reason it changes our lives is because it changes our perspective on the world. It causes us to be more dependent on God. And I've just learned this in my own life, and I know many people in the room would say the same thing. God will provide over and over and over again. So if you're ready to take that step, you can go to, again, pull out your camera app, scan the QR code that's on screen. This time, click the button that says Give on the page that it takes you to, or you can go to give.mycurrent.church. And if you are, like, you're interested in considering this percentage-based giving, I'm telling you, the route you want to try out is recurring giving. There's an option on there where you can set up automatic payments. If you get paid every other week, do that. If you get paid every month, do that. But just you can set up recurring giving that way, and that ensures that you're partnering with us even when you're unable to be with us in person. And one last time, I just want to say, you guys outgave what we expected, and I'm so thankful for it. Thank you so much again. I'm telling you, your sacrificial giving, your sacrificial generosity is what allows us to encourage, equip, and lead people to follow Jesus wherever they are in their faith journey here in this community, and it gives us an opportunity to make a difference in this community. So, speaking of following Jesus, we're going to learn a little bit more what that means in part 2 of Bend Don't Break, so I'm going to hand things off to Ryan, and let's do that now.
Hey, how you guys doing today? Hey, I want to start off real quick by saying, first of all, Ben, that was great. Thank you so much. I love that here at Current Church, we can be transparent with the way that we do things. Also, last week, Dave, who brought a great message last week, he mentioned beforehand that I was over there doing slides, and if something messed up, to don't worry about it. It was his fault and not mine. So this week, if the slides messed up, he's actually doing my slides this week, but I would like to say it's going to be his fault again. So I'm just messing. It would absolutely be my fault. Hey, so it's funny, back in the Middle Ages, I don't know if you have any history buffs in here, but in the Middle Ages, they got really creative with their torture techniques. Yeah, that's a great way to start a message, isn't it? So one particularly very interesting technique that I do, I really love history, and I like looking back on different things. I go down some really crazy rabbit holes on YouTube. I don't know if any of you guys have been there before. But one torture technique I actually saw that they perfected, or they got creative with, was very interesting to me today, not because of what happens from the torture, but because of the name. And what they would do is they would tie ropes on all four of your limbs. And on each of those ropes, they put a horse on it, and a separate horse on each rope. And so I'll leave you guys for your imagination on what happened after that. But what's very interesting about that is the name that they gave this technique. And the name that they gave this technique was distraction. Death by distraction. And basically, you're pulled in so many different directions that you're just unable to keep it all together. And so a little less gruesome than that, there's still potential for us even today, for us to have death by distraction. And some of you guys might even have death by distraction today. Obviously, a little less gruesome than what happened in the Middle Ages, right? So this is week 2 of Bend, Don't Break. And as we talked last week about Bend, Don't Break, and we pretty much talking about how bending is, of course, yes, bending is better than breaking, right? We always want to bend, don't break. He brought a great analogy of Spagnuolo last week about the defense of a Chiefs team needs bend, but not break. But you know what? The thing is, our lives, we are not meant to always be bending. We're not meant to just bend forever. We're not meant to just bend without taking rest, without taking a breath, without hitting space or having just a little margin of error. Anything that is bent long enough, it's going to eventually break. And so I don't know if you guys have felt that way, that in life you're just bending so much that it feels like you're more just surviving than rather be thriving, which is what Jesus wants for us, is to be thriving. And last week, we discovered that we were overwhelmed. We were carrying so much. We put 3 different words to this, or that we were overcommitted. We're just doing so much in life. Or we're overexposed. You're processing so much information. There's so much information just at our fingertips with your cell phone and knowing what's going on all the way around the world right now, that we become overwhelmed, we become overcommitted, and we become overexposed. And with time, this takes such a toll on our lives. And you guys, I know you guys understand it just as much as I do. It takes time, it takes a toll on your body. But it even takes a big amount of toll on your soul. The fatigue that you get from this, right? The fatigue that you get from the body and soul, it goes beyond the physical. It's something to where just sleep or even vacation does not help this. And I'm a napper, 39 years old this year, and I'm turning into a napper. But there's still times where I'm just so distracted, I'm so overcommitted everything that it's just in my soul. It's because it's depleting our soul. And because of that, you end up not having any that love, that joy, and that peace that we so desperately need and we so desperately desire. You know, there's a subtle enemy of a tool that the enemy uses. A subtle little thing that the enemy uses to get us into this. And that little enemy right there, he uses it by distractions. It keeps our attention distracted from the most important thing. And so distraction says that which pulls our attention away from what matters most. Your attention. You know, you've heard it said many times that time is our most valuable commodity, and I've said that 100 times, and I really believe that time really is your most valuable commodity. But one of the reasons I believe that is because attention is probably the most valuable within that time. Let's talk about it. So like time, attention is limited. right? Like time, you get to decide what you do with your attention. Like time, you can give something time, but not your attention. So that's why the attention is the most important commodity. So if you guys have noticed that, right? You can give someone all the time in your world, but you might not be giving them attention. And attention costs something for us. There's a reason why they say, pay attention. It's because it costs something. It's valuable. What attention leads to, there's a poet, Mary Oliver. Mary Oliver said this. Mary Oliver said, attention is the beginning of devotion. Where your attention goes determines what you guys are devoted to. And what you're devoted to is what you value, what you prioritize. And what you value and what you prioritize determines who you become. And the amount of love, the amount of joy, and the amount of peace that you have in your lives. And I know that's what we all want, right? So when was the last time, I'm going to ask you guys today, when was the last time that you've thought about where is your attention going? You should ask yourselves today, where's my attention going? And wherever your attention is going, and what does that say? Where your attention is going, or what does that say about what you're devoted to? Where your attention is going, what does that say to who you're becoming and what your priorities are? Are they really where you want them to be? I tell you, the way that I spend my attention every day, and the way you spend your attention every single day, you ask yourself, is it cultivating the love, the joy, and the peace in your heart? That's what we have to ask ourselves today. Whether or not you're a Christian or not a Christian, whether or not you're a Jesus follower or not, I think I'm pretty confident in saying that we all want love, joy, and peace. You hear that everywhere. No matter if you're in church, we all want love, joy, and the peace. And the problem with this, and I'm definitely most guilty of this too, is we give our attention away without even enough thought about it. You never really sat down and thought about it. So here's the question today. What are you distracted from that you should be devoted to? In a world that is demanding our attention, what is not getting it, right? Listen, and I know we're busy. We have different events. We have kids. We have work that we're doing that's keeping us busy every single day, that's keeping our attention away. And especially in work, I don't know if happens in my life, but I work from home, right? I was told when I was a kid, I don't know if you guys were told this too, but don't bring work home with you, right? That's really hard to do now when you're working from home. Do we have any people that work from home in here? Yeah. It's hard that you don't need to blend those two together. And you become getting on this unsustainable pace where you're caring for others so much that you're not caring about yourself. There's a really good quote here by Corrie ten Boom that says, if the devil can't make you sin, he'll make you busy, because either way, your soul will shrivel. I think that's also very similar to what GC posted last week that was shared, right? That we become on such a pace. We're going. We're so busy with life that it causes disconnection. It causes disconnection with your reality. It causes disconnection with people that you should be connected to. And it causes disconnection in your faith. I mean, have you ever just been so busy, but then after a long day, you do something to where you suddenly feel present again? You ever sit down on the couch and you sit down and you just can finally breathe? Or for instance, what happens to me, I'm guilty. I stay up till midnight a lot of nights. I'm a night owl. My wife is a night shift nurse. And so on her off times, I love to stay up a little bit, right? But there's times where I go to bed and I've laid down in bed, and as soon as I hit the pillow and as soon as I lay down, I think, why didn't I do this sooner? because it's so comfortable. And our technology that we have today and our entertainment that we have today, it's not bad. I don't want to say bad things about technology and our entertainment. However, with the amount of apps that we have, with the amount of time that social media we're on, the amount of times that we're on our phones, did you know that the average person touches their phone more than 2,500 times per day? I mean, Netflix has a design built in to tell us, hey, something's happening, because have you guys ever seen the thing that says, hey, are you still watching? Translation, hello, we've been here a while. Is everything okay? Maybe you should go check on your kids. Right? Hey, are you still there? Are you aware that you didn't want to watch a 3-hour movie, but you just binged a TV show that was 10 episodes long, an hour each? I know you guys have seen that. And I'm not the only one. And then you might say things like, if I've only had more time. If I've only had more time. How many guys have said, if I only had more time? Hey, this might be a little challenging, but sometimes maybe you should look at your screen time on your phone because your phone tracks it. Why don't you look at your phone sometime and see how long the screen is open? How much screen time are you really using just on your cell phone alone? Maybe it's time that we put the phone away for a few minutes. Maybe I know I do. I have to, for sure. Listen, I told my wife on the way here this morning that this message, I'm preaching it to myself. I'll probably go back and watch it later because I need to hear it. All right. But we're also distracted by worldviews, right? Different worldviews. And the worldviews are that you need to go faster. You need to earn. You need to go. You need to do all these things. You need to go, go, go. This is worldviews that we're distracted by, that we're told. And by going so much, you need to earn so much money. You need to do so many things. You need to go see the world. You need to check off your bucket list. And by doing that, you'll get success. You'll get happiness. You'll be fulfilled. So I stop right there and I ask again, what are you distracted from that you should be devoted to? Ignoring this question will cost you. It's costed me already. And I know it's probably costed us. And it probably already has. You know, there's a study done at Harvard almost 15 years ago. This was crazy when I saw this, that 47% of our waking hours are spent thinking about something other than the present. And you could think about that right now. 47% of our waking hours we're thinking of something in the future, something that we're currently not doing. The conclusion of the study said this, that the ability to think about what is not happening is a cognitive achievement that comes at an emotional cost. So the ability to even think about what is not happening currently, where we currently are, is an achievement, but it comes at an emotional cost. This was almost 15 years ago. Imagine what it's like now. Think about how bad it is now. That's almost half of our time that we're awake, and it has emotional cost. I mean, this isn't just a faith thing. Being present scientifically is linking to the joy, the peace, and the love and the contentment that we all want. But we spend half of our time somewhere else. It has relational cost. Time that maybe you should have spent with your spouse or your kids. And it has a spiritual cost. So today we're going to talk about a distracted life leads to disordered priorities. A distracted life keeps us from the beauty of the present, and a distracted life limits our capacity for love, joy, and peace. Urgency eliminates what's actually most important. Listen, our relationships around us, they deserve best. Would you guys agree? Our relationships around us deserve best, but according to the study, they get half best at best. And our faith sometimes is just limited to 1 hour a week in a movie theater at church on Sunday. So I ask again, what are you distracted from that you should be devoted to? Now, Jesus gives us a better way in a very crazy, relatable story that I'm sure many of you guys will be able to relate to now. Like, if it wasn't just in the Bible, then you could say, yeah, I think I've experienced that before. And so Jesus gives us a story that helps us to thrive instead of just surviving, instead of just waiting in the water, right? So in Luke, Jesus goes and visits two sisters, Martha and Mary. And so let's see what happens here. So in Luke 10:38, it says, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. So Jesus and his disciples were guests inside this home. It goes on to say, she had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. So we see here that these are two very different situations, right? Two very different situations. Mary, who is at Jesus' feet, who is taking the stance of a disciple almost, and being a learner and a student, and being in awe of what's happening and what Jesus is saying. Can you imagine having Jesus there? And that's what Mary's doing, just sitting there. Jesus has Mary's full attention. Martha is prepping a meal. And what's really interesting about this word distracted, what's really interesting about this is the only place in the New Testament that this word for distracted comes up. And the Greek word means distracted here means that she's having inner stress. She's having frustration and agitation. And culturally back then, this was fully expected of Martha. She wasn't doing a bad thing. Prepping a meal, in this culture, hospitality was everything. Guests were the most important thing that happened when they entered your home. You had to take care of your guests. So you could probably imagine this, right? She had to make a meal for many guys. Can you imagine Martha in the kitchen? Maybe she's whipping up the hummus. And she starts clanging pots and pans. Oh yeah, Mary. Oh, you like that story in there? Maybe whipping it a little harder. Can you imagine your mom or your grandma in there and the only one slaving in the kitchen, and they start giving those angry eyes as they're whipping up that hummus, and she's clanging the dishes everywhere. So you know what? Martha goes and she does what every normal human would do, right? She goes to Jesus to complain. I think I'd do the same. Would you do the same? So that's what she says. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Won't you tell her to come help me? Can you tell her to come help me? I'm burning these pitas over here that now you're going to have all char marks, and it's not the good kind of char either. And Jesus says to her, Martha, Martha. Jesus is patient. He's calming her down like, oh, Martha, Martha, Martha. He continues and says, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only just one. What Jesus is saying here, I want you to really realize that he is not discounting what Martha is doing. Martha's doing a good thing. But the thing is, she's trying to create a full meal. Jesus is saying, Martha, don't overcomplicate it. You probably only needed one thing for us, and then you could have came in and sat down at my feet just like your sister Mary. Don't overcomplicate it. It says, Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Mary is in the present and Martha is distracted. Martha is not doing anything bad. Don't get me wrong. She's not doing anything bad. Martha is in there, and Martha's in Mary, and she's having love. She's having joy and peace, Mary is. And Martha is in the kitchen, and she's having stress and anger and worry. And Jesus is saying, hey, it's all right. You're not wrong, and Mary's not right. It's just that Mary chose better. Jesus is saying that, Martha, you could have simplified what you were doing, right? You just needed to prioritize what was happening. The priority was not to create this very, very large meal. Maybe you just needed one dish instead of a huge meal. Listen, he said you could have good in one hand, or you could have better. right? You guys understand good or better. You can watch normal, funny cat videos on YouTube, which is good. Or you can watch cat videos with funny sound effects and voices all over it, and that's better. Don't look at me like you don't watch cat videos on YouTube, all right? It's easy to determine in our lives what those bad distractions are in our lives, right? It's easy to determine what distractions are, but the little distractions that are not bad, they're just good, but not better, those are hard to spot. And they just distract us from what is really the most important thing. And this is something I like to call the distraction dilemma. And the distraction dilemma says that even a good thing can distract you from a better thing. Yes, Martha, we know we got to eat. But you don't have to cook everything right now, okay? You can just be a host and come in. Yes, that's good. But there's things that are better. Now, let me back up here real quick. I'm not saying that work is bad, all right? I'm not saying that work is bad. I'm not even saying that where you work at, you should and you can love your work. Please do. I am not saying that you should this week go get fired in Jesus' name, all right? Don't go do that. All right. But you know what? Whenever the work that we have and the technology that we have, the social media, the phones that we have, they're not bad. They're not evil. They're not bad. But they prevent us from connecting and enjoying and being productive. I don't want your kids this week to look at each other and say, hey, we haven't eaten for a week. And the other one says, yeah, mom's just saying that she doesn't work this week, so she's trying not to. I don't want to say that. My wife may have said that last week. We ate this week, though. All right. Jesus is indicating priorities here, right? Jesus is indicating you got to figure out your priorities. Something okay that you have gets in the way of the better things. And something okay that you have, something good that you're doing, if it's in the wrong place, there could be something better. Priorities are not wrong or right, but they're better or best. And that's what we got to think about, right? So every day we get to choose our priorities. If you want love and joy and peace, then you need to think about where your attention is going. Because attention determines your devotion. Determines your devotion. We have a capacity we have a capacity for love, peace, and joy. We have a certain capacity for that, and that gets lower when we're distracted, right? When you're not in the moment, with people, you're doing too much, your capacity for love, joy, and peace is getting lower because now you're distracted. I'm going to tell you right now that this right now is probably one of the most spiritual things that you can do this week, is to think about where your attention is going. I said spiritual thing, even if you're not a Jesus follower. This is definitely the most wise and healthy thing that you can do in your life. It will be the best thing you can do for your relationships, for your marriage, for your children, for your kids, for your work, for your parents. That's the most greatest thing that you could do in your everyday life and your relatable life right now, is to ask, what are you distracted from that you should be devoted to? So I like math, and here's some math. I got a math equation for the soul that you can use today, okay? I don't know if you guys like math or not, but pretty much what we have to do is we have to identify our distractions, step one. Then you determine what your priorities are, step two. And then you will experience more love, joy, and peace. Identify the distractions in your life and determine what those priorities are. You might say, hey, that's too broad. That's a pretty wide thing you just said there, Ryan. What's going on? Yeah, you know why it's too broad? You know why that's broad? Is because we are all in different places. We are all in different seasons of our life. And here at Current, we said it earlier, we say it every week, we want to help you where you currently are. And this equation is going to help you where you currently are. You can apply it. And to prove that I'm not just asking you to do something that I haven't asked myself, I want to be a little vulnerable with you today. And I want to tell you guys something I did 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, I'll be honest, I probably wasn't the best husband or the best father. And the reason why is I'm a gamer. I play video games, lots of them. And it got to where I was playing way too much. I was playing a ton of video games, and I wasn't even playing them when my wife was around, right? And video games in and of themselves are not bad. I'm not saying that, okay? But I was playing them so much. I wasn't playing them when my wife was home, but as soon as she would leave for work, I would go down and play video games, and my relationship with my kids would suffer. And so I decided to not play as many video games 2 years ago and to put it down and step away. And because of that, that distraction was gone. And I've been able to focus on my wife. I've been able to focus on my family, my kids. And things in these last 2 years have been wonderful. She claps. Listen, right now, and stuff like you are missing moments right now, 10 years from now, that you would do anything to get back. I missed moments 10 years ago I wish I can get back, but you know what? I can't do anything about the past. I can only do things right now in the current that will affect where I currently am and in the future. In the name of phone games or work life or your social life, if things are not in your priorities, they're a distraction. And you might say that you're going to be less productive. And I'm even going to say right now that I was actually listening on the way here and practicing this, and I heard something said that I'm going to speak to myself right now. And maybe there needs to be 3 things you need to do, that I need to do, to set up these priorities for you in the morning. And it happens first thing in the morning. Spend time with Jesus. Spend time with your kids. And serve your wife. That's what I heard. And I'm gonna try to put that into practice. You're not gonna be less productive than that. I imagine I'll probably be more productive. I'll be a better dad. I'll be a better husband. I'll be a worker. I'll be a better friend. Clearly defining the priorities in your life is gonna protect you from what you deem as most important in your life. But you have to see, and you have to define, and you have to do something about it. So here's what we're going to do. So we're going to start with 3 questions. 3 questions is going to help you set this up, okay? It's going to help you prioritize. So here's the first question for you guys. If you guys want to write these down, I think you definitely should. Take a picture of them. I don't mind. First question is, how do you start your day? I'm going to say right now, if it's on your phone, if you're looking at an email, if you're just starting it going straight to work or starting on social media, it's probably not a priority and it's probably wrong. And it's adding stress to your life. What's best, and I fully believe this, is when Jesus is prioritized first thing in the morning. You will feel a difference when you're aware of Jesus' presence all day. We said it earlier, and we also say this over and over, that we believe that becoming a Jesus follower will make you a better person and will make you better at life. But if you were to say right now that, Ryan, I'm not really a Jesus follower, cool. You could start with some quiet time in the morning. Maybe journal or read a book. Or if you want to, read the Bible. But do something. Start now. Start now. At least it's worth asking the question, right? How do you start your day? It sets the tone for the rest of the day. The next question is, what can only you do? What can only you do? And if you just ask yourself that question, what can only you do? And you thought of work, you thought about your job. I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing at your work, and no one in here is working is irreplaceable at their own job. No one is irreplaceable at their own job. This question is most important in your relationships. Only you are dad. Only you are mom. Only you are a son or daughter. Only you are a husband or wife. This should define our priorities. What can only you do? One thing that we decided in our priorities is another thing I want to talk about my wife today, because she's awesome, is that we decided that we would set aside time once a month for date nights, for a date night for me and her just to get away and spend time with each other. Before, we were having date nights, maybe 3, 4. Listen, if you're married out there, please continue to date your spouse. It makes the biggest difference in the world. And you might say you might have young kids. Make it a priority. You can do it. When we decided every single month, we have a date night. And don't just put it on one spouse's shoulders. We did that too. Learned from our mistakes. My wife was planning all of our date nights pretty much every single month. And she came to me finally and she said, Ryan, listen, do you care about date night? Because I'm planning them all. So we decided that she plans 1 month, and then the next month's my priority, and it's my job to plan the date night. And if it doesn't happen, it's on me. The next month it's her, and we skip and we trade and we hold that 50%. Listen, you can ask her after service if you want. It's made a huge difference in our marriage. Visit your parents. Show up and be present in your kids' lives. If they have sporting events, go to them. If they're artists, enjoy their artwork. If they're musically inclined, listen to them. If they have concerts, if they have recitals, go to them. Don't miss your kids' stuff. That's so important. You will never regret prioritizing relationships in your life. And finally, where can you choose better? And be honest with yourself on this. Even if you're not honest with others. Who needs you to choose better? Ask in your life, what things in my life are good, but they could be better? Maybe if you want to ask someone, maybe ask your spouse or your kids or your friends. Maybe ask them what you can do better in life. But listen, if you ask that question, you can't get defensive. You can't get defensive, because if someone says, yeah, you could be better at this, then you can be better at that. Don't just do everything that comes to you and say, yeah, I'll do that, and you get this big load. There's a popular quote out there that says, no is a complete sentence. Maybe you might need to get better at that sentence. Maybe you might have to say, no, that's going to distract me from what I'm prioritizing in my life. Where can you choose to be better? And one last time, what are you distracted from that you should be devoted to? I'm telling you right now, the cost is too high for us to ignore this question. You need to do something about it. Your relationships will be better for it. They'll be more thriving in your life and less just surviving. It's going to require honesty. It's going to require courage. But I'll tell you, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual health is going to benefit from it. And your family, and your friends, and even yourself are going to be so glad you did. Let me pray over you guys. Dear Heavenly Father, God, thank you. Thank you for showing us how important it is to not be distracted from you and from priorities in our lives. God, I pray over everyone in here right now as has heard this message today, that they start thinking about and they chew on it throughout the week. What should be a priority in my life? Where are my distractions there? Where are my distractions? What are the good things that I'm doing right now that I could be doing better? What can I do to become a better person? What can I do to become a better dad, a better mom, better husband or wife, or maybe a better son or daughter, maybe a better friend? God, I pray all this in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
been wondering, you've been a fire in the clouds. I'm following, you made a way out of bondage and darkness just yesterday. So today, if I hear you speak, I don't need an explanation. If you tell me move, I don't need the destination. What's been promised, I will believe. I'm still walking with you, you're still walking with me. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us, he'll see us through. Yes, he will, he'll see us through. Yes, he will. Oh, never alone in the battle,
He'll see us through.
never alone in the desert.
He'll see us through.
You're never alone in the fire.
He'll see us through.
Yes, he will. He'll see us through. Yes, he will. He'll see us through. Never alone in the water.
He'll see us through.
You're never alone in depression.
He'll see us through.
You're never alone in addiction. Yes, he will. He'll see us through. Yes, he will. He'll see us through. And all our anxiety, I know.
He'll see us through.
In our darkest thoughts, I know Jesus.
He'll see us through.
In every circumstance, I know. Yes, he will. He'll see us through. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us through. If I know one thing, our God is a deliverer. If I know one thing, our God is gonna see us, he'll see us through.
Well, I hope that was encouraging for you. What are you distracted from that you should be devoted to? I hope that question just kind of resonates with you guys all week long. I really don't want to let you guys go without saying this for just a moment. Can we just one more time just give a massive thank you to Ryan and to Dave for stepping in and speaking the last couple of weeks. I know, like, last week, my dad mentioned that he was communicating because when I was in the hospital, we were talking about, like, what's some stuff that we can take off of you right now. This series, by the way, was planned. We planned on doing it this period of the year months ago. And it just feels so fitting for me. Thank goodness I didn't have to preach those messages, because I would have been preaching them to myself. I just know that that's, those are things that you got to work through myself. So Ryan mentioned, I'm preaching this message to myself today. if you guys like just get excited about the idea of hearing me preach to myself, come next week, because that's what you're gonna. It's for real though. Next week's gonna be, I think, really good. I think it's gonna be helpful for you. I think it's gonna be helpful for somebody that you know. So find somebody that you know and invite them to join you next week, because I think it's gonna be the conclusion of a series that's gonna be really good. I've been debating whether or not to like give you this hint or not, but next week I'm actually gonna talk a little bit about the journey that I went on about 6 or 7 weeks ago when I was in the hospital for a week and a half. And I think it's going to be really good. Might be a little emotional. I might cry. There you go. If you want to come and watch me cry, like we can do that together. Whatever. So you guys have a fantastic week. We'll be back here with part 3 of Bend Don't Break next Sunday. We'll see you then.